The only thing worse than the woke left is the woke right, guys. And I want to admit it, guys, this is the woke right. When it comes to anything else, there are grifters and many other things in their lives or whatever, but most foremost, they are the woke right. I always been a huge fan, right, of the horseshoe theory. Basically, when you go extremely left, you're the same as the extremely right, and vice versa, right? This is exactly what we see here. Right? These grifters coming out now from the extreme right, they've been pretending they're anti-woke or whatever, but at the end of the day, they are just woke, right? There's no difference between them. This really is no different. Not only in how they are acting, instead that they're trying to censor gaming, censor anime, whatever, right? But also in their methodology, right? And how they perceive the world. To some extent, I actually kind of miss Jack Thompson and his Christian, because while they're also arguably woke, right, they aren't really, because they didn't pretend to be anything else, right? I think these grifters here, they're terrible people because they're pretending, right? And if you ask them, oh, are you woke? No, I hate those people. But you have this exact same methodology, right? So it's a very, very different thing. I think that one way to look about it is the whole idea of the sneaky F-er, right, you know? If you ever seen a God Sad video, you ask about the sneaky F people. And the sneaky right are typically very left-leaning and woke, and they pretend, you know, to be like a feminist or whatever, to get laid with a hot chick, you know, or whatever. You know, very, very classic sneaky left woke behavior. However, aren't these guys, again, the grifters, coming to who we talk about soon, of course, aren't they also just exactly the same? Aren't they sneaky on the right instead? They pretend to have this idea, but they actually have another ideology. Aren't they sneaky efforts as well? I think they're the exact same thing, right? And I'll say it again, I hate the woke right. So I never liked this YouTuber at all, Melonie Mac. So I always felt she was disingenuous and fake, right? That I always felt at any moment she was grift in another way, right? But first of all, these people are grifters, right? But I think one way to look at it is that I dislike almost every YouTuber that does reactions. Almost all the reactors. Doesn't matter what they do, if it's anime reaction, gaming reaction, whatever, trailer reaction, movie reaction, they're almost all fake, right? None of them actually have their own emotions there. They would pre-read the stuff, they pretend they haven't read the manga, whatever. There's so many fakes, like 9% of them are fake, right? But when it comes to these like Anti SJW woke YouTubers, whatnot, right, it's the exact same thing there. I feel like 9% of them are also fake. They don't have an actual conviction. They don't know shit about Marx or Stalin or whatever. They have no idea what a tabula rasa is, or they haven't read a book in their life, basically, right? I mean, honestly, like, let's be real, right? And worst of all, they aren't even gamers, right? They aren't even gamers. I have seen one of these up-and-popping female Anti SJW reactors, not Melonie Mac, another woman, and I started playing Elden Ring, right? DC last year. A boss that took me 2 tries, literally 2 tries, to beat the boss, right? I see her streaming that boss fight for like 8 hours. And I'm just like, how can she have so many subscribers? How can she have... This is not a gamer. I'm sorry, my gaming brain cannot accept that this YouTuber is an actual gamer. Ergo, all of her Anti SJW, woke, you know, whatever gaming YouTubers are all fake. My brain just cannot accept that you can be so incredibly bad at Elden Ring and also claim that you're a gamer and doing it for the gaming and so on. I just do not accept that. I don't believe in it. Second, right? Subscribe, like button. Let's do grifting here. If you want to know who it is, press the like button. And if the video gets 100 likes, I'll make a video about her then, because I really hate her content, genuinely so. And I dislike most of these, again, Anti SJW works well, right? Because I feel that they can do like Melonie Mac at the moment is shop side, right? So the backstory here is pretty straightforward, right? What we see is that Melonie Mac and some of her biggest fans then, all the YouTubers, are now taking a stance against whatever, Stellar Blade or Big Butts or whatever, and Op-Eyes or whatever in games, right? And this, of course, is very straight up, you know, double moral, double standards, hypocritical, whatever, right? Because obviously just a few months ago, the same people will say that they are, you know, against the left censoring games and so forth, right? And obviously, while they're doing it, first and foremost, it's the grift itself, right? But the actual reason for it is Trump, right? Now, Trump won, so they think that, oh, I have to change side now, because when Trump is winning, that means that the woke left has lost, so I have to stop complaining about them and change to complaining about something else, right? So that's obviously why. First and foremost, that is really stupid, right? Even though Trump won, and obviously it's gonna have a big impact. I think the biggest one since so far is Facebook, right? Changing rules and so on. And it's gonna have a big impact on the culture war, so to speak. But it doesn't mean it's over, you know what I mean? So I think it's very stupid to the people to act like Trump winning means that the far left has lost everything, you know what I mean? That's how it works. So really, these people are kind of stupid, honestly, because they keep to... I would say that they are definitely, you know, they're hasting it way too much. They're not at that level yet where the left has just, you know, completely vanished, right? That's one thing. But again, it's obviously that's why they're doing it, right? They are grifting towards much further right. So basically, I guess you could argue that they were grifting, you know, towards gamers, and generally speaking, kind of the moderates, you know, when they were anti-far left, right? Because most people, you know, both moderates and of course also right-wing people, doesn't like the far left, right? You know, only the far left. I mean, actually, no, even the far left doesn't like the far left. You know what I mean? Like, no one likes the far left, right? So they were kind of moderating before, right? They were in the middle. But now, when they feel that Trump has won and it's going towards, you know, the right more, right? They are, you know, grifting towards a more extremity, which to try to attract, you know, more subscribers or whatever, get more views from the far right, obviously then. And that kind of comes back to the grand horseshoe theory. They're you know, they're traveling so much right, they're basically left again. You know, they're just doing a circle, right? Yeah, they're traveling. Horseshoe theory, of course, is that you go so towards the middle, crazy enough, you go around the circle, full, you know, full retard, as one said, the classic, yeah, never go full McIntosh, yeah. So you basically go a full circle around and then back at where we started, right? So it's kind of like, oh yeah, now you turn into what you hated last month, right? But it's obviously the people here, and it's so incredibly disingenuous, because these are the same people they just a few months ago would tell you that they would never do this thing and so forth, right? Now we show you some of the Melonie Mac comments here, but it's not to just expose her, even though she's the biggest fraud, obviously, in his circus so far. But it's mostly to show you like an example of this typical grift, and the rest of them are doing the same thing, right? But let's start with show her image here then. So overall, right, she's like, oh, I prefer playing 60 characters, issue power of the fantasy, so on. This actually is true, of course. So if you didn't know, I'm a researcher, right? I'm a smart guy. No, but this actually is 100% true. Just to point out that absolutely, it's actually the most likely person to play a sexy female character in a video game is actually not a woman, right? You know, not a man actually, because most people kind of tend to play their own gender actually, and well, when women play games, they tend to absolutely play women. This is another one a year before, right? She's defending 2B, you know, whatever, she's hot and so forth. You know, this is all like, yeah, I want to have big asses and big butts and so on. 2 years later, now it's like, oh, you can't regulate sin, we can't have, porn should be illegal and all this stuff, right? We can't have sexy female characters anymore. So she's turned into this, like, you know, I guess like a reborn Christian is what you might have to call it. But I don't really feel that's the big reason, though. To me, this is just faking it, you know. I don't think it's pushing to religious, actually, honestly. And that also is a big grift too, honestly, right? Isn't that kind of funny too? But I genuinely think she's probably even grifting her religious. Yeah, she's just pretending to be whatever to, you know, get the subs. You know what I mean? That's how pathetic it is. Yeah. You know, likewise, she was pro gay, bi stuff, whatever, right? Lesbian stuff in the past, and now instead, of course, she founds gay and trans or whatever, right? Like against God or something and so forth, right? And this obviously might be her actual opinion. I actually kind of doubt it, honestly, right? I think that's, yeah, almost the most grifting here is that she's basically just like pretending to be this thing, right? Because I mentioned earlier, is the horseshoe theory, which she is now traveling further right? She becomes like super much like that instead, which is turning to the woke right? And this is kind of her part of like getting into. At this moment, she isn't ascended to like full circle yet. This is before you go full circle. This is the moment where you're extremely like right leaning and you're like, oh, I hate everything now. And then, you know, in the next month it's gonna be like left woke instead. Yeah, this is like the full. Yeah, this is before you go over the. This is before the person goes over to the other side. Yeah, this is the edge of like, okay, then now I'm like extremely alt-right here, then the next second you're gonna be around. And the reason I made the video is because I want you to think about, you know, I want you to think about this stuff. I made a long video It's 2 weeks ago, 3-hour long video talking about how the woke has infected the game industry, right? And why the game industry is so woke. As I explained in that video, it isn't so much the whole DEI and SGS companies. It's rather that, you know, game developers are very woke inherently and so on, right? And then we look at this kind of stuff here, and this is also, of course, a part of an issue in the game industry. While you have mostly, by far, of course, woke leftists, you also have the woke rightists, right? So you haven't met people in the game industry, and they're both issues, right? Because both the woke right and the woke left want censorship, of course. They're both major issues for gaming, anime, movies, whatever, right? Because they both want to censor you. You know what I mean? They want to censor your critique. They want to book burn. You know, book burning is woke right stuff. You know what I mean? Calling canceling people, that's woke left. You know, calling a job and so on. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. These are both woke, right? Woke left, woke right. They have the exact same like agenda in the end, right? And they have the same, how I say it, righteous attitude about it. So they do any kind of mythology they want, right? And they're basically the same people, right? It's important that we stop them both, right? And take our foot down and say no, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, these people, they wanna, whatever, right? Remove the big ass, no, but it's really about that. I think that, unfortunately, as a song here, I think the debate about the wokeness, right, has become a lot about, oh, we can't have a character with a big ass, right? It's kind of how they started with this character, right? These people here, that they have this game with a woman with a big ass, right? But the problem rather, as I mentioned in my long video, then video, is that we did these people, right? It censor everything. Did you think it's woke right people? You said the woke left? Did you the woke left or right, whatever? Did you censor only like the characterization, how they look or whatever? Or her tits are too big or whatever? No. They censor your storyline. I mentioned that in a video a few years ago, right? But I wrote a storyline, you know, the main character, and the main character got R'd, okay? So the main character gets, you know, R'd in the storyline. But then the CEO is like, you can't have that. What do you mean? Why can't I have the main character get it on? He's like, no, but the main character is trans. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I want a really good trans storyline here. He's like, but you can't have a trans character getting on. I was like, why not? You're gonna get so much hate for that. I was like, no, I think it's a great storyline. I think it's actually gonna be quite relatable story. I was like, being my point, like, no, the woke right and the woke left, and again, people are woke right. They're gonna censor you. They're gonna remove stuff, and it's much more about that kind of limited creativity, right, than the big ass and the big boobs, right? I think mostly, just like I said, right, woke right is book burning, you know, woke left is canceling you because you said the wrong pronoun, you know what I mean? But they both want to do the same thing. They want to cancel you and remove your text, you know. So you can't anymore write a book about a character getting old, or you can't write about a character defiling God or whatever, or fighting the government. You can't write whatever you want. You can't make a game, whatever storyline you want, so on and so forth. Right? I think that's where it leads. You know, it's very easy right now to pretend that it's all about just the sexualization of the characters, right? Oh, this character has a big ass or whatever. Oh, we have to cancel that. But obviously, you think that, you know, apparently now then, super religious RazorFist, you think he's gonna allow you to make a game where you fight God? Like, basically every RPG ever. Every Japanese game ever. It's like, oh my god, you're fighting God again. What a surprise, yeah. But seriously, think about that. Do you think that he actually wants you to allow that? Do you think it's like Melonie Mac that found God suddenly? Think she actually wants you to fight, you know, like, let's say, Bayonetta, right, you know? Like, Bayonetta, obviously is very sexy or whatever, but ignore her appearance. You think these people would allow you to kill angels? You know what I mean? Stuff like that, you know. Why should games like God of Ragnarok be allowed, you know? Killing my poor gods, you know, my poor... Anita was that classic, oh, the first real big name in, like, you know, censoring, obviously, then appearance, right? You know, big boobs, ass, whatever, right? But, of course, Jack Thompson was against game violence, right? He was a very classic Christian far-right guy. They wanted to cancel games like Grand Theft Auto and so on, right? Not because you had strippers in the game, but because you could kill people, right, you know? So where does the line go, you know? At this current stage, right, these woke rights currently are trying to make it all about sex appeal in the games, right? But they gotta go into the Jack Thompson route. So they're basically Anita currently, right? But they're obviously gonna go into becoming Jack Thompsons, where they're gonna be like, no, you can't anymore make an FPS game. It has guns in it, you know, or, you know, these games influencing children to kill, you know, and so forth, you know what I mean? So you're not gonna be able to make certain game genres anymore, or certain storylines or whatever, right? So that's what you have to be much more afraid of. And that's again why the woke right is exactly the same as the woke left. They want to censor creativity, and they want to censor, you know, whatever genres of mechanics and so forth, right? As bad as the woke left. There are just fewer of them, honestly. Yeah, there are fewer of them. But I mean, I mentioned it in my 3-hour video as well. The woke right or people on the far right are also an issue in the game development companies, absolutely. But there is fewer, right? If you have like 20% extremely far leftists in your game development company, maybe 5%, I mean not all the 8% then, are far right, you know. That means you have 25% total of crazy people. I just want to hammer this point down though, seriously, that I really dislike most anti-woke SJW YouTubers. No, but seriously, because one thing, tell me if I'm wrong here, tell me if I'm wrong here, okay, tell me if I'm wrong here, okay, but genuinely, most of these anti-SJW woke YouTubers has been arising in the last 1 or 2 years, had a great success now with all the woke game failing, right? Almost all of them, what I've seen, are really, really terrible at actually playing games. That's why I don't believe that they actually are genuine, because they suck at the games too much, okay? I just can't accept people actually being so indicated to making 4 videos per day, spamming up videos about how much the woke or right or left or leaning, blah blah, ruining the game industry, and they can't play games. I don't believe it, okay? To me, that's the first thing that I look at if I'm actually gonna believe a gaming YouTuber or not can actually play the games, okay? And they don't have to be the best player in the world, right? But to me, yeah, kinda, because honestly, right, if you're gonna spend your time making videos about video games, I expect you to be really good at it, you know what I mean? Really, really good at it. Because you want to dedicate your extra time, not even playing games, but talking about games, you should freaking love games, man. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just being biased because I am much better than them, but seriously, I hate it. Every time I see a YouTuber talk about video games and they suck at actual gaming. And they don't have to kill every boss in the first attempt, right? But I mean, like, Jesus Christ, man, you can't be, like, insanely bad. What do you guys think? Maybe subscribe, have a great day.